We call it after several discussions. We gave this name, and this name actually describes our general expectations, what we want to deliver to the company. All of those expectations are about being closer to our customers, staying in front of the shelves, and I think traditionally in big format stores like grocery or non-food stores and department stores, to be customer friendly is a serious challenge. And when we read our customers' notes within Net Promoter Score, there is a frequent complaint on how to find an employee. And for you and for customers, it's quite often a double challenge actually to find an employee who can help you and who is able to provide you really good consultancy and support. So in general, I think this is a general disease of low margin and low cost models all over the world. So we thought that we could empower our employee and we could equip them 100% for those interactions with customers. And that's what exactly I would like to share with you today. You will hear the sources of the idea, the prerequisites and the current readiness, and what are the main components of the project we consider. At the end, I will give you my opinion on connection to COVID crisis and how the project will support those types of critical cases in the future. First of all, I would like to make here an essential remark. What you will see today, this is the work in progress. This is not a final case study presentation. And now we have a big group of IT engineers, operational specialists, and store employees working to make it happen. And this is a huge discovery and learning journey for all of us during these days. Unfortunately, I don't know the background of our listeners today, so if anything is unclear or simply you want to know more, just put your questions in the chat. And to promote this chat, I suggest you to take a look at this screen. Yeah. So you see, this is the laptop from one of our department managers in the shopping floor. He has something written on his sticky note. Yeah. So I suggest you to write down what do you think is on a sticky note in the chat. Then we will check your suggestions. So let's move on. A few words about me. So you know already, my name is Pavel Ryukhov. I work for Metro EG as head of store operations. I came quite a long time to the company, 15 years ago, and I worked in different positions, starting from department manager in the store, then followed the department manager position, floor manager position. Sorry, this is equivalent of deputy store manager. Then I was a store manager. Then I moved to our headquarters in the country organization, and I was responsible for process, efficiency, cost, and sales support. More details of me and some of my thoughts on different store operational topics you can find on my LinkedIn page with this QR code, or if you just type in Pavel Ryukhov and you go to this page. Practically, last several years, I was literally dreaming of improvements in our operations in stores using digitally components, and now I have a chance to be part of it and to lead it. But before I will show you what we meant by our project, I have to tell you a few words about Metro. That's important to understand the context, also the organization and the project. So what is Metro? Yeah. First of all, we are an international company in commercial sector. We serve in 34 countries small and medium-sized companies from gastro industry and independent traders. We own the brands of Metro and Macro. In those countries, we have also FSD food service delivery brands like Classic Fine Foods, Pro and Pro, and G Express, and we operate from the network of 678 locations all over the world. And you can see our team is more than 97,000 employees. So I would like to show you one more slide on the most important markets for us. This is Metro Germany, our mother organization, Metro Western Europe, Metro Russia, Metro Eastern Europe, Metro Asia. Normally we show this classification also when we distribute our financial statistics, yeah, so you can see it in those reports. And I haven't said yet, but we have a separate company called Hospitality Digital, which develops specific digital solutions for gastro sector. Let me say that Metro is not a typical retailer, not a retail at all, yeah, I would say. The first target group of our customers is HoReCa. This is the abbreviation from hotels, restaurant, and cafe. We put a lot of efforts to be relevant for those businesses. And I must say that until probably last 3 months, the overall trend of HoReCa had a significant development. People prefer to eat out instead of cooking at home. Currently, this sector, of course, lives through the serious crisis. Nevertheless, we hope it will be back on track. Another group of our customers are traders. And by them, we mean stores normally of small formats and normally run by independent owners. And also we develop our franchise business. So the number of our partners is growing every day in several countries, which we normally consider attractive for the business. Then let me say what is important to say, what is our different to a typical retailer also is how we look like. And we have a lot actually for our specific group of customers, and especially we have a lot in terms of specific assortment which you cannot find in a normal hypermarket or supermarket. And the services we provide to our customer groups are a little different than you have for consumers. And to stay relevant for our customers, we updated our business recently a lot. Just few examples you can see here on the screen. For example, we run specific full cycle delivery service for our customers, which is different, of course, than to end consumers. We do transportation after checkout for our customers. So when the owners of the restaurants and the traders, they pick the goods themselves and then they ask us to deliver that to the businesses. And we also have web ordering interfaces for selected customers. Unfortunately, not for all of them, because still in this sector, in hospitality and trade sector, there are a lot of customers that are not yet ready to use web ordering tools. Yeah? But that's development. And one of the latest news, we also opened a marketplace for gastro goods called Metro Markets. It's some kind of Amazon, but only for HoReCa business, where you can find very specific assortment needed by HoReCa. Very important slide here, because here I have to actually build some connections to the projects. We mostly perform our operations in the locations which were constructed during fast expansion of Metro in 80s, 90s, and 2000. And what is common for this format? It's quite a big size of stores, between 6,500 square meters and 8,500 square meters. Initially, this space was used for the extensive presentation of food and non-food items. Non-food share reached around 50% of the total space allocations. So it was at that time very close to the hypermarket model. Now, part of the space we use for integration of delivery platforms, and partially we still use it for non-food. But in non-food we are very focused now on gastro assortment. So in general, we operate the space which we inherited from the past. Yeah, so this is one of the important foundations of our project. Yeah? When I came to the company, 15 years ago, that kind of size of the stores was serviced normally by 300, sometimes 350 employees. And today, as a result of our clear focus on professional customers, on HoReCa and traders, we need in average only 122, yeah, like you see on the screen, yeah, to manage the store. And this number of employees includes also 8 employees dedicated only to delivery business. So from this slide, I'd like you also to remember this fact of strong reduction of store associate numbers through the years. It means that in the end, we could not perform the process in the store like we did in the past. So we need new innovative ideas to perform that, because simply the resources are not anymore sufficient to all way of running those processes. When I tell process, what do I mean? So if you're familiar with retail industry, you know that the store is a complex mechanism. So we have goods reception, we have in-store logistics, we have checkout, we have people management, we have cash handling, and so on and so on. Yeah. If you add on top delivery integration, you add on top some new stock management solutions which we need now to run specifically for delivery or to stay relevant in this market with new process. Then we have new organizational structures in stores, so it makes even more complex how to run the same size of the store, probably the same size in terms of turnover business, with new process and less people. Yeah, so that's quite a big challenge. But let's say before we go in the idea of the project, in the core idea of the project, let's see how we currently organize in stores in terms of infrastructure, how we could see our starting points. So I prepared a few pictures for you. So first of all, here you can see our, let's say, typical offices on the territory of the store, where our department managers can use desktop computers. Desktop, of course, means shared computers. Moreover, we have, in most of stores, we have also specific room dedicated to training and to team meeting. And we have also there some desktop computers. And recent years, during some of projects during which we did remodeling of the store space, we considered the idea of moving to the floor some of those working spaces from department managers' rooms to the shopping floor, as I said, at least to perform part of the functions what department managers do. So we created what you see on a picture on the right, some kind of info desks. Unfortunately, in my opinion, moving the computers to those locations doesn't make much sense, especially if the process and the communication are still on the pen and paper. And now our customers can see all of those papers, paper archives, schedules, printouts, and a lot of mess on those info desks. I think you could see that in many stores during your visits to retailers, and I'm not talking about only metro, it's everywhere practically. So I'm not a big fan of this solution. On the other hand, for some simple operations, we use so-called handheld terminal. You can see on the picture, we proudly call it PDT. Here you can see the model which is on Windows operating system, so practically you cannot create any modern app for it. And the only advantage of that kind of handheld terminals is that they were depreciated a long time ago, and it makes very cheap to use them. And of course, those terminals are shared. Nobody keeps them in their pockets because it's simply impossible. The size is too big, they are heavy, and the employees have to take this kind of device from the office or from the info desk and bring it back when they finish with the request of customers or when they finish with stock maintenance activities. As I promised, I would like to show you what is on the sticker. This picture I took when our department manager had to enter into the system his login credentials. He didn't remember it, but every entry in the system, during every entry in the system, he of course needed to do it, the system asks him multiple times to do it. Yeah? So one of the learnings I take from here is that if you want to create anything, and of course for mobile solutions, you have to support single sign-on. In the modern world, we are so used to it, it doesn't work any other way. On the next picture, you can see very typical way how, let's say, stock maintenance related topics were organized. So our employees normally form the report, print it out, then they go and they perform the activities in front of the shelf. For example, they perform counting, and then they are back to the office and they enter the data into the system. So a little bit old school, you can see. Yeah? Then here, I took specifically this ugly picture just to show you, let's say, quite ancient way of task planning, how it's organized. And here you can see the wall, or to be very precise, the door of communication. So our employees print out from Outlook very important information, and they keep it on the wall. Yeah, not to forget. When I did the investigation, what inside of those printouts. Yeah? So you can see customer contacts, suppliers contact, or very important information from head office. They keep it like an open task. Yeah, sometimes to take it out and to say yes, it's done. I used this nice famous work from Ilya Repin, from one of the famous artists, when we had store management meetings. Yeah? And in the times which are shown here on the picture, yeah, the cost of manpower was so cheap, much cheaper than the installation of a steam machine. Yeah, and look at those people, their faces, how hard they work when they need to pull the vessel. Yeah, and every time store managers told me they work definitely not less than that. Definitely. Yeah, and with all the events in the store, they have to manage all the communication and all the requests from head offices. So they are busy, super busy during the day. So at that moment, I hope you have at least first an impression of quite a high pen and paper process organization, which we faced in the very beginning, and some reactive Outlook communication flow. Yeah? So now we can really move to further. Yeah? I have to say a few words just not to let you with the impression that Metro is super old company. Yeah, we have proven list of innovations deployed. That's a little bit side comment, of course, from the project, but I would like to give it. So we have 300 stores with electronic shelf labels. We use staff planner to ease the scheduling process for stores. We are now moving in all countries to central ordering tools. GDA. We have best in class, I think, app for our sales force. We call it SEM. And what we are really proud that last year we were pioneers in fast checkout usage. So when the validation of what customers actually bought, so is done when the customer moves the trolley through this waiting machine. So the whole, let's say, check-in and payment process takes just 40 seconds in the end. But the process, the main question, stays the same. Yeah. So you see all those innovations, they practically do not touch the core of activities of flow employees. But where we can search for the source of efficiency and productivity improvements, and where to find extra time for our customers, for better service of our customers. Yeah. So actually, we started to look on the material externally on employees mobility. So I put here on a slide some reports available on the internet, which I strongly recommend for you to take a look. And they're really inspiring. Two reports here are from Scandi. You can download it from their page. One is dedicated to this quite the same program like we are running now, run by Oshan. Another one to computer vision and the usage of cameras of mobile devices in the retail sector. Very interesting. And then you see very impressive survey from McKinsey on the main business cases on the tables of retailers and evaluation how the industry will be affected on the period of 2-3 years. That's super interesting. I also recommend you to take a look at this report. And of course, the best way to realize that we have a gap to, let's say, to new technologies in that area was to make reference visits to some of retailers. And we are really grateful that we had those chances to see their products and to talk to the users. Especially out of the list you see here, I would say the visit to Drogerie them was a turning point for our thoughts. Based on those visits and researches, we defined our vision. So every in-store employee is equipped with a mobile device. Everything what he or she needs to have from the system. So all system touch points are on mobile base. Plus, mobile devices is an enabler of new opportunities. So when we talk about extra productivity growth we could get out of it. So office time we expect should be reduced dramatically. And of course, whatever we do, we should do it without any more pen and paper dependency. One more comment here, we consider mostly personalized devices. So at least, when the person comes to the store, at least for the shift, he has a personalized device to keep all the relative and relevant communication for him and all the information he needs to know. And to avoid impression that our focus only on technology and efficiency, let me show that this employee actually here has a heart. He's not a robot, he's alive. So what's inside the project? Just how to make this happen. So the first component actually is the change of infrastructure. Metro, let's say, is not fully centralized company for those decisions, unfortunately. So we can see now that we don't need only to replace all those handheld terminals in some countries, but we also have to upgrade VLAN, so Wi-Fi in stores. So we have different Wi-Fi statements in different countries. Sometimes we need to update telecom contracts and phone stations in stores, and in the end, we need a specific mobile device management solution which supports new models of smart devices and our internal app store to be run under this mobile device management. So another decision which we had is selection of mobile devices. Here I would like to show you just examples. So first of all, historically we used all industrial devices which are rugged. They could fast scan with the imager, with built-in imager. Unfortunately, they have a lot of limitations. Even now, the producers try to make them as close to customer devices, consumer devices as possible in terms of weight or size or camera resolution or processor. We probably still need those devices in the chilled areas and for the process with intensive scanning. For example, if you have a goods receiving area, of course, people scan their products a lot of times during the day, or in delivery department because it's in the heart of the picking to scan the barcode on the product. So those devices, of course, have opportunity to change the accumulator. They fit all those fancy VLAN standards when you can move through quite a big format store, and you don't need to be disconnected from one access point to another access point, so there will be no breaks. But still, they are quite expensive and very limited in terms of camera resolution and the weight. We have big number of employees, quite a big number of employees who do not scan barcodes really often. Sometimes they scan occasionally 5-10 times per day, so they could run all necessary work applications on quite a simple consumer device. In this case, we need to, of course, to solve the issue with integration of a camera interface into our solutions, but we benefit from the low price of those devices. And here on the picture, let's say you can see one example. It's a Nokia smartphone, which is below 300 euro price. I must say here that we decided to focus as a first priority on Android devices as a corporate strategy. Nevertheless, I have here on the page also iPhone. Yeah, why? Because historically, management of stores and head offices used iPhone, so we should keep in mind that some applications our employees still have to run on iPhones also. Now, the very important part of our story, which applications we consider as the most valuable for stores and employees in stores. So on the first place, no any competition for that, we have our store ERP system. Our current ERP practically is the main obstacle now which separates us and the future. In some parts, of course, it has mobile interfaces since probably 10 years, but with those interfaces, our employees still need to use pen and paper complementary to perform the activities. And it cannot use, unfortunately, at current stage, mobile device camera. So we are in development now, in development stage of new mobile interfaces, which should support us with all stock-related activities, fully only in mobile application. Yep. Second part, which we consider, but it's very easy. Everybody knows what is a messenger. For corporate solutions, of course, you have to respect certain security rules, yeah, and you have to do the certain user management. But there are a lot of examples here. This is very mature class of programs, so you can find a lot here. And of course, we have decided that probably it will be one of the most valuable parts of our project here, Storm Messenger. The third part is digital platform. We don't like the name a task manager, but in reality, yes, it's about execution tracking is about creating tasks for people. It's about filling in checklists. It's about seeing and organizing the communication between head office and stores, and feedback from head office, from stores to head office. And we see it as a very important part of the core package, which we would like to give to our employees. Here I mentioned some kind of KPI. So you see that for store ERP mobile interface, we see that we can improve 10%. We can reduce the time people use for stock management related functions, but that's quite a conservative estimation. Yeah, I think my personal feeling that we can go much faster than just 10% reduction of time. And for digital platform, we have also quite conservative evaluation of the potential effect between 5 and 8%, but in reality, taking into consideration how much time people spend on it, I guess it should be also quite higher than that. There are some other components. Very quickly, I would like just to name them. Mobile learning. So specifically, as we employed so many employees, people should learn a lot, especially in our industry when we focus on a specific group of customers. We have to deliver very good product knowledge trainings, and people should learn. Yeah, and we think that with mobile learning, with those new mechanics, we could find available in modern mobile applications, like micro learnings, like user-generated content, like just-in-time trainings, or I could give you one simple example, if people don't know how to perform certain process, they could jump with how to button to this section of the learning, and they could see a very short video of 1 minute to catch what they need to do. Right now, it could happen that they only one person in the shift left, so who can tell him what to do? So it could be just a video file. Second part is install consultancy tool. As I mentioned, we have state-of-the-art app for our field force for visiting the customers. We have plans also to adapt it for the usage, adjusted for the usage of store employees, so people can easily consult customers on, let's say, on own brands, on product. They can do products comparison. They can share some news on promo. So quite many things. But let's say this is quite an important part of being in this sector for us. And of course, we have some other apps. I will not stay too much focus on them, but we have some, let's say, easy apps like emails and contacts, planograms, queue busting, payroll, HR, personal cabinets, and so on and so on. Okay, so I just want to say a few words what does it mean to run that kind of project in a big corporation, before I finish. And I would like to make it very short. First of all, we need to overcome the argument that customer related process should get all the investments money, because if you do it through the main, let's say, quite a big period of time, so through the several years, then the internal process became a serious limit for development in the customer area later. Then the budgeting is very important, because if you consider the horizon of several years for the project, like we have now. So we have many different points of views in our organization. It's not easy at all, and that's why I'm a big fan of quite a small team, which can run that kind of project. Because if you can imagine, if we have 34 countries, in every country we have IT manager, in every country we have process specialists, so it's quite a manageable group of people who can give whatever opinion they want, and in the end you have to move forward. So for the project purpose, definitely we need to keep our working group quite compact. But in the end, anyway, we have a change of standardization. For many years, the countries in Metro drifted in different directions with the solutions for store employees. Now we have to consider a lot of specific requests, but we need to make it as standard as possible. So this is regarding project. Here I would say we have a plan to empower our employees with different mobile functionalities. The company, definitely will benefit, and already benefits for the certain moment from reduction of the time for administrative and stock management topics. We definitely see that we can improve the performance quality and we can definitely deliver better customer service. And I would say overall the project has a very decent payback period below 4 years, and I would even say that development and deployment schedules for some components of the project are even longer than the payback time of it. And you can see we give to our employee opportunity to work with even bigger passion and better equipped and skilled with customers. So his heart is even bigger here. Very quick, because organizers asked me to give some comments on the COVID crisis. I will give it very quick. So how the project can be connected to that kind of crisis. So first of all, let's take a look what we actually did when the crisis started 3 months ago. So there were different reactions for head office employees and for store employees. For head offices, actually, we focused mainly on remote performance, so people should not stay in the head office building. They move to work from their homes with a corporate laptops, or at least they have an access to corporate tools on their home PCs. For stores, this is different story. Stores have to be still open, yeah, and employees have to come still to shifts, yeah. So for them, the focus is actually how to mitigate the infection risk. Yeah? And here, of course, if you consider our, let's say, project in the future, if this kind of crisis will, I hope not, but if they come back, then we have, let's say, several statements for that. So the project could support keeping distance, obviously. Yeah, we use personal devices, but not shared anymore device, and we could. Employees could work in any location of the store and even outside if they can, of course, combine it. And of course, we keep a chain of communication. So you need to run team meetings to collect a lot of people in one point of location, yeah, to deliver information. That's actually what I wanted to show you. Yeah. So now, if we have some questions, we could go to those questions and I can cover them, or use this time, you know, to ask anything.
Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation, Pavel, and it's very refreshing for us to see the other side of what's going on in retail stores, because most of the time, even including myself, I'm just a consumer. So today, it's thank you for giving us more insights to behind the scenes in on when it comes to retail. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce that the floor is open for you all to drop your questions. For those who are joining us on YouTube, the live chat is on. This is your one time to speak with exchange of views with our speaker, Pavel. So don't be shy, just drop your questions and I'm happy to share them with Pavel. Okay, so Pavel?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yes. In order to warm our group up, if I may ask you a couple of questions myself. Okay. So what are the key members of the working group for that change project?
Yeah, actually, as I said, Metro is a big corporation, so we have to manage several areas. So one of the members is responsible for countries. It's me, yeah. So I have to lead the contacts with the countries. Then we have a member responsible for infrastructure, and we have for different IT topics, but mainly dedicated to apps development, another member of the team.
Okay, we have one question coming in. So it's from Pete. His question is, by the way, he would like to send his compliment that your presentation is great. So back to his question, how do you see the older generation who are the boomers engaging with the retail experience that's pretty much have evolved more towards the younger crowd like the millennials and the Gen Z?
Actually, I didn't mention it, but that was one of the thoughts in the very beginning when we started this project, that when we have newcomers to our stores, when we have new hired store associates, quite young, and when they see and they could observe how our process were organized with pen and paper, of course they were upset quite fast, and they don't like it. So they feel that it's not Google, it's not let's say Amazon. Of course, we need. It's not good for in general for engagement. And to be an attractive for employee for new talents, it's another reason to run that kind of project, and to become modern in the usage of mobile devices.
All right. We're waiting for the participants to be more warmed up. There's another question, which also is really also from myself as well. How have you seen the COVID changed the project development?
Last 2.5 months we worked, of course, in remote way, with conference and teams. We, on one hand, in terms of the speed of development, I guess we a little bit miss opportunity to test do really good tests on the territory of stores. That's on one side. On the other side, I think that it was good learning for all of us anyway, how to work in a remote way. And I guess we used those lessons very good. Yeah.
I'm checking if any further questions in 1 minute. Seems like we have quite a shy crowd here. So Pavel, in this case, how about this? Perhaps what's a better way is we will redirect all the questions to you. Would that be okay for you?
Yeah, sure. If you have any questions later, then yeah, I will answer them in a written way.
All right, great. So thank you very much, and it's wonderful to have you with us, Pavel, and also ladies and gentlemen, thank you for taking your time to join us today, and I wish everyone a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.